few weeks ago, we started out with this engraving. This was the culprit, started it all. I saw a few posts where people were showing off what they were able to engrave with their machines. And one of the first pictures I saw was a painting of a lion or something like that on canvas. And the color that they were able to get out of that was just amazing. They had an Xtool S1 just like mine, 40 watt. And I decided, let's go out, let's make this. So I watched a few videos, I read a bunch of posts on Facebook, great stuff out there, and I decided to get a picture. But I thought I would try something a little different. I went to ChatGPT and I decided to go for a black and white picture, you know, like a art noir type of thing. And this was it. I posted it on Facebook and the rest is history. Some of you guys loved it and I made a couple of videos that you can check probably here. So now that those videos have been out, your comments have been fantastic. Many of you want to see more of my work. Many of you want to see more of the detail of the process I follow. What I want to get out of this video for you, which is something that I hope you want yourself, is that you're able to recreate this image or whatever image you want to try out. And my hope is that you can get to this level where you're so happy with the results, you cannot wait to show them online. I'm going to walk you through the entire process from the canvas, spray painting, to the work I do on the computer itself, how I set up my machine, and then ultimately where you're happy with what you see and then you're brave enough to go and try it yourself, all right? That's the plan. So are we ready? Let's get going then. Right, let's talk about material. So far, what I've been very happy with is using stretch canvases. The stretch canvas that I've been using is just what I find here in my local big box store, like everything else that I've been using. This is a 20 by 25. I played around with different types of sizes. Very happy. This was about the same size of the one that I started with. Fantastic product. To be honest with you, as fantastic as that is, it gets to be a little pricey once you start burning through a few of those canvases. This was my next go-to, still my go-to. This canvas sheets or panels, 100% cotton. This happens to be 24 by 30. I've used smaller ones. I've used this size, works out great. You can see the details there, you know, and in the previous video, the 10 mistakes. One of them is what I can see here. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it because of the wrap, but there are a couple of blemishes, a couple of bumps, right? So keep that in mind when you're buying your canvases or your sheets. I've also done engraving using MDF. Who would have thought? I didn't. Just plain old MDF. This is about 3 millimeters. It works great. The results that I'm getting out of this is just amazing. Totally unexpected. There's a little bit of a sheen. I don't know if you can see it. A bit of a glare. I'm not sure if that's an MDF thing or just happens to be this MDF. Very happy. So this came from the stretch canvases, right? This is a stretch canvas. This is the result, right? This is your regular canvas. You've seen this one. I'm so proud of this one. I keep showing it everywhere I go. So you've seen it. Canvas panel, canvas sheet. Of course, MDF. This is MDF. So this is just amazing. Again, the sheen is there. I'm very happy with the results. What else can you do? Well, you know, I'm trying today. I'm hopeful that I will make some time and try it out on good old plywood. 3 millimeter plywood. This one is ready to go. You know, this is so smooth. I was so impressed. Plywood. So we'll see how that will turn out. And last but not least, good old slate coaster, stone coaster. I painted this one. Please don't hate me. Painted this one. We'll see. I'm just testing things out. This one without any prep. This is just how it came out of the box. If you've done it, let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts? Or show off what you've done. We'll see if we can do something nice with it. At least testing. So again, material-wise, basically what I have tried, stretch canvases, canvas sheets or panels, and the MDF. Whatever you prefer, I can tell you through my process, I've used basically the same settings and I've gotten those fantastic results. That's it as far as materials. All right, let's talk about painting. The type of paint that I use, nothing really special, or at least when I picked a few cans, whatever I had here at home. My go-to brand is this local brand, Duplicolor. I don't know if you find it everywhere, but to be honest with you, this is what I had. Other projects, you know, down there I have my spray paint holder, storage holder, whatever you want to call it. And I picked a couple of cans from there. Nothing fancy, whatever I had. I was just looking for the color that I needed. This is another local brand. Nothing fancy. And they have worked great. The only thing that I, learned along the way was that matte was supposed to be the way to go. Anything with gloss or glossy or whatever, I try to avoid. This is not very good for your system, not very good for your system. There are a lot of fumes. It can bubble also. There are a lot more chemicals in those type of paints. So I stick with matte, plus matte doesn't reflect the light so badly as to glossy or any of those other fancier type of finishes, so it's a lot better for engraving. I'm sure there are other types of paints with specific minerals, specific components that will work much better with laser engraving, but this is what worked for me. So if you have other type of paints that you use and you've gotten great results, please share down below. This is just your run-of-the-mill spray paint from the big box. As I said, I wasn't looking for anything too fancy. On my third trip to buy more paint, I did make sure that it was matte, but that's about it. There's no secret formula or recipe. I never went too deep into the ingredients to say, this works best. It's just, from the research, from the reading, from the YouTube videos, from the Facebook posts, I tell you that's what people were recommending, just to stick with matte and darker finishes. And yeah, that's what I had. That's what I went with. Of course, when you're buying your paint, make sure that you buy the paint that you need for the picture that you're using, right? I show you that, for example, for this picture, I use the same white, red, yellow, and black, right? For this picture, I used white, light gray, dark gray, and black, right? The order in which you apply your paint, and of course the colors, try to match it as close as you can to your original picture. If I know that my picture has kind of an orange or kind of a brownish color or this blacks, I'm not gonna buy blue, right? So in this case I used white, yellow, red, and black because that's what I was looking for. Now the original picture is a little more flat when it comes to the colors, but I love the way this one turned out. Just fantastic. The spray painting process is pretty straightforward. I believe I'm saying this wrong, okay? Because I'm calling it coats. So when I say I'm using 2 coats of white, 1 coat of black, technically speaking, I'm doing 1 layer horizontally, right? And then I do another layer vertically. So technically speaking, on the same color, on the same application, that could technically be considered 2 coats. So you can make a case to call that 2 coats. I'm calling it just 1 coat. Anyway, from this point on, you know what I'm talking about when I'm saying 1 coat. I go fast, okay? From end to end, I go fast, right? Somebody told me once I'm supposed to count like basically 1 or 2 seconds per end to end, but I can't do too many things at the same time. Multitasking is not my thing. Make sure that the paint doesn't pool. I just make sure that I don't overdo it or that I don't lose my path. And that's it. I keep the distance 20, 25 centimeters. That's about 10 inches. Each manufacturer, they recommend you a particular distance based on their formulations. So just read the back. They're pretty straightforward as far as instructions. 15 centimeters for this one. So some other manufacturers, they have other kind of instructions and recommendations. This guy tells you 25 centimeters. So I follow that basically. Now you've seen this little tray. It's like a Lazy Susan. It's a little tray and I'm using this pyramids, painter's pyramids. That has worked very well. That Lazy Susan came from my wife's cake kit. She bought this kit. She never used it. So one day I was thinking about making my own painting Lazy Susan or whatever. I just kind of explained what I was doing and kind of asked for it. But anyway, brought it here, covered it in tape. It works great because I can rotate that canvas and I get good coverage and I don't have to move myself around. So those painter's triangles, they also work very nicely. I bought a bunch of them, but little by little I've been losing them. They were 10 total. I don't know how many I have left. After a few painting painting sessions, this is what they look like. Some of my friends there with a 3D printer, I'm sure they can do this no problem. When I realized I was running out and I needed to paint more, I just made my own. Just got this rounds from a job that I was running in the CNC. I got my brat nailer, got the nailer right to work right there, and that's it. Got a couple of videos on some of this stuff, so look them up. They're pretty entertaining, I think. But yeah, paints, that's all I can basically share with you. Nothing really fancy. You know, I don't think I'm blowing your mind with this information. You need to make sure that your paint fully cures. So what I mean by that, you can go ahead and apply the paint, each coat, and wait 30, 40 minutes. Take a look at what the manufacturer's recommending for your paint. But in my case, 30, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on what I'm doing, as a minimum. And then I apply the next layer. And then once I'm done, depending on the weather, if it's too cold outside, I know that my garage doesn't get too hot either. I need to mind the fact that it's going to take a little longer for the paint to dry. So I tend to just wait for each coat to dry to the touch. I come back and I apply whatever coat I'm working on next, and then I let it sit there overnight or 24 hours. Technically speaking, often it goes 24 hours because I'm super busy during the day. I let that sit there and just wait. I know that we're all excited. We all want to get to the engraving part, the fun part, but if you do this part and you do take your time, is going to be much better. You don't want extra fumes or paint bubbling or things going crazy like that. It's just not good for you. It's not good for your laser, and your end product is just not going to satisfy you, and you're going to be upset. So take your time. When it comes to the software, I'm using XCS or LightBurn. Often I will use XCS because I'm not really doing a whole lot with the picture. If I needed to do some major editing on a picture or a vector type of image, I will most likely go into LightBurn. It's a lot more powerful. I'm much more comfortable in that particular software. But nowadays that I actually just import the picture and don't do a lot of tweaking, I'm pretty comfortable with XCS and what it can do for me. Some of you have asked me, do you manipulate the image a lot? Do you do this and that, the contrast or whatever? Because I know that there are some softwares online that allow you to do a lot of that editing of that picture. To be honest with you, all I do is once I bring it in, I move the sharpness all the way, so make it very sharp. The contrast, if I need to, I will move it a little bit, but often I just leave it alone. Again, black and white, I can tell you it's a lot easier. Once you start getting into the more colorful pictures, it will be a little more challenging. But again, nothing that you cannot achieve by doing a lot of testing. So that's with the software. You can achieve basically the same with LightBurn. I know that there are other softwares that come shipped with your machine, or that perhaps you have acquired or purchased through other means. But you know, with this process, you just bring the picture over, and as long as it's a good quality image, good DPI, good contrast, good focus, all you gotta do is just tweak those grayscales and the sharpness. Yeah, that's basically it about the software. Maybe if you have an idea as to why you would need another software, maybe you have larger pictures, Cosmos type of picture, maybe that's when you need it. But either way, leave me your comments below so that we can all learn together, all right? The settings that I've been able to gather through my testing and all that research I've done on Facebook and YouTube, you can pretty much replicate. There's no difference when it comes to putting the effort, doing the research, doing the material testing. The difference are primarily on what your machine is capable of doing. So if you have a similar machine, similar specs, you can always get that baseline and start playing around with the settings doing the material testing. I would not dare grab someone else's settings and go into the engraving hoping that it will just work. No, I will grab someone's settings and then use them as a baseline just to do a lot of testing. Now, this one is not a good example of a material testing simply because I was testing the different layers. Still a material testing, still a canvas sheet or whatever you want to call it. The point that I'm trying to drive here is that you can use someone's settings just to get you started, but that's about it. I don't mind when people ask me about my settings on Facebook, but I immediately tell them, hey, use them as a baseline for your material testing and test. test, test. With that in mind, don't be shy. Ask away. Just leave me your messages. If you see me posting something in some groups, you see my pictures, you'll start recognizing some of these pictures. So feel free to just ask me point blank, with this machine, what settings would you use? Most likely I would tell you, listen, do the research, take a look at the different groups in Facebook, and test, test, test. That's the name of the game. Just testing, testing, testing. Pick a small area of your canvases, prepare extra canvases, whatever's needed, and start doing the material testing. Now, one thing about material testing is that someone says to me, listen, I didn't know that you could make the picture smaller. I was using triangles or stars to do my material testing. That works well. What I found for me that it worked well was to make the same picture that I'm going to engrave just smaller. And that will give me a good understanding of how things will engrave close to reality, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what I'm gonna be engraving. So to engrave a star or to engrave a circle, whatever it is, it will give you the information that you need. But I think this engraving of the same picture, just making it smaller, is going to give you a much better understanding of what you will end up with. If anything, material testing, all right? Sometimes things work very nicely, and sometimes things don't go very well, but it's all part of the same learning curve. I actually like this one simply because I struggled so much. I was so excited. I couldn't see the detail through the green screen. I thought it was coming out just great, and then, you know, it just burned a little too much. And I wasn't able to get the colors that I needed. But, you know, with that, I learned a lot. So I'm very happy to keep it around. I'm very happy to look at it from time to time and see where I started, right? So now you know exactly everything that I know. So you should be able to, at this point, get the same results I've been getting in the last 3-4 weeks. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, I appreciate the like. If you have any comments, please leave them below. And if you want to help me grow this channel and this community, I would appreciate your subscription. Also, follow me on Facebook. I'm there all the time, just chatting with people, giving some input. You know, if people are asking me questions, I do make time to answer questions. I appreciate all the good comments I've been getting, and the encouragement is just fantastic. So keep those nice comments and thoughts coming. I love what we are building, and I just hope that we can continue to grow. That's it for me. Happy engraving. Take care.